I think it's a bit of a design flaw to have so many people out this early to talk about creative stuff. I think it would be a better idea to have creative cocktails instead. Maybe you should work on that. So I'll just introduce myself a little bit first. I'm an artist based in Melbourne. I've moved here 5 years ago. I knew 2 people when I moved here, and I think in August I'm going to leave Melbourne. It's the time for the next step, I think. But yeah, today's theme is freedom, and I was like, okay, I am free. I'm actually quite free as an artist to do whatever I want. I work across any medium that strikes my fancy. This is acrylic embroidery, and I suppose I wanted to talk a little bit about being a full-time artist. I have no other gig. I don't work in a cafe or a bar or anything like that, though I think maybe I should, just for cash flow. But 2 years ago, I quit my job and decided to put all my eggs in one basket. Be extremely fucking careful what you wish for. So sometimes I think people think, oh, you know, they're going really well, everything's moving forward for them, but as a full-time artist or as a designer, it's really hard. You have to put the work in to maintain that freedom. So I work constantly. I love what I do, but sometimes I think maybe I shouldn't work as hard as I do. So this is acrylic embroidery. It's 100 by 60, and yeah, I think it is a message that maybe we should all be aware of, that you may be wanting an absolute freedom, but perhaps a sense of balance might be better. This is a cross stitch that I made on a residency in Beijing. It's only 40 by 40 centimeters. It was the only thing I did the entire time I was there. I was going through a bit of a tough time post-breakup, and it's called the bomb. And when you make a mistake, I think there are 3 stages to acknowledging or recognizing that mistake. First one is shit. Please go, oh God, fuck, it's really bad. Sorry. So that's why I made this work. Yeah, and during that time, it took a whole month to make, but I had the opportunity to reflect on everything that had gone wrong. It gave me something to focus on, and maybe just become a little bit more aware of some of my flaws, of where I went wrong. And I think that's a universal thing that I think a lot of people can relate to. Because I think I can do anything, I decided that I would make paper mache urns. So this is a paper mache urn. I started making 10 of them. 9 collapsed during the process, but I ended up with 1. So I had the opportunity and the freedom to go and pursue that technique I knew nothing about beforehand. I made so many mistakes along the way, but 1 worked out, and I really love this. These are just, from now on, just going to be showing a few of my works, and yeah, talking about more general sense of freedom. I think it's really important to have the freedom to make mistakes and the opportunity and space to do that, to constantly experiment and explore and get to know yourself a little bit better. Sometimes I feel like, this is my fuck yeah plate. This is maybe one of a few works that sort of changed the course of my little career. Obviously, I don't know I think everyone might have one. It certainly seems that way, and if you didn't know, this was the only thing I've ever done. So yeah, it took off like wildfire. It almost didn't happen. The company I collaborated with at the 9th hour was like, oh, we've got to pull it. We won't get any coverage. No one will want it and stuff like that. I'm like, no, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. And so we did it, and the rest is history. Yeah. So I backed myself, I think. Yeah. This is a new work for a new show that's coming up. It's called Wisdom in Sydney, at Martin Brown Gallery. Martin Brown Contemporary. And I think the show's still evolving, but I hope to make works that offer some sense of wisdom or difference, or hopefully everyone can connect. There will be works in the shows just called Reflect as well. But the figure's tongue says, I was going to say go to hell, but I see you brought it with you. I love a phrase. I feel like it's one of my favourite things. I'm a terrible writer, but I can pick out the perfect phrase, and it's got to have the right combination of poetic bounce, self-deprecation, and liberation, in a sense. So, when you're in a bad place, you look up at the stars and you're just like, oh God, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? And this is what I wanted it to say to me on that day. And I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. This is a new collaboration that's just about to come out in May. I'm really excited about it. And it's a little top secret, but whatever. I've been approached by a lot of companies to do a lot of things with them. Sometimes I'm just like, why? It's a really long stretch of a connection. But I'm doing another plate. I'm doing another set of plates. And this time, they're fine bone porcelain. And they're a limited edition of only 100. And I'm so excited. They're going to be so expensive. It's going to be great. But this time, because of I wanted to do something a little more pretty and posh in a sense. So the peacock's feathers are riddled with snakes, bottles, dicks, and in amongst it says dead posh. And the idea was the Islamic quote that says, the devil never knew the way to hell until the peacock led him there. This is a work from my constellation set from last year. The text above it says, the plan first unravels, then recoils. So I think the message I was trying to communicate there was like, you got your eye on the prize. Sometimes things fall to shit, but if you just keep going, it'll recoil. It'll come together by sheer force of will. I was recently asked to go over to Perth to work for an organisation over there called Formed, who were trying to activate the city with a whole bunch of murals. They flew over loads of international artists and a few interstate Australian artists. I feel like a bit of a fraud. I'm not a street artist at all. I have no previous history outside of the very first one I did was Movida. I'm not sure if anyone's seen that one, but they saw an exhibition of mine, approached me would I paint the outside of their building, and I said, oh, I'm not a street artist. And they're like, oh, great. And they said, well, what can I do? They're like, oh, do whatever you want, but can you just put the words fuck yeah on the side of the building? I'm like, yeah, that's really easy. sort of what I do. So I got invited over with all these international street art megastars who all knew each other. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing there? On the very first night we did a meet and greet. I didn't think about what I was going to wear. And I wore white jeans and a white shirt. And I had like nice boots on. I turned up, they're all 40 40-year-old men in like street blacks and stuff like that, and I was like, oh god, just blend in. So I got given this space in the city, and it's right off Chanel, right off all the real busy, popular, like how swanky is this? And I got given this impossible section. It was like 40 degrees. This is tin. And so I was up on the thing being microwaved from either side. And all the garbage bins for all the street end up underneath. And I was just like, dead posh, hasn't it? Some of you may have seen this mural I did in Fitzroy. It was a private commission. The clients were really excited to let me just do whatever I wanted. I don't do sketches. I never have. And I told them that. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to do it. Is that cool? And they're like, okay, yeah, sure. So it took a week, and I think it turned out okay. You know, it's good when people start having their wedding photos done in front of it. This was a mural I did in Bali for a friend's new beachside restaurant and resort. He just, again, let me do whatever I wanted. And yeah, I got a month in Bali for it. It was great. It's a good deal. This is a Newcastle art gallery, and my very first job out of high school was working at an art gallery. I've never not worked at an art gallery except for when I first moved to Melbourne and couldn't get a job. I lied and faked my way into a fancy cocktail bar. They said, are you a cocktail bartender? I'm like, yeah, no worries. But yeah, for me it was a great full circle. I worked there first as a volunteer guide, and then eventually as a casual, and then I was front of house. And a lot of my lecturers from the university in Newcastle were working there, and I failed university miserably. I eventually dropped out after too many fails, and I think I went straight from school. I think that was my huge mistake, and eventually I just went, stuff this, I got this. So, yeah. So, after so many fails at university, I thought it was appropriate to go, see, I told you. There's this. So I just thought it was a perfect photo for freedom. It's not the best angle, but that's what we did. This was another mural I did down in Fremantle, and yeah, it was for public housing. And so we were trying to maybe enliven the space. It's a pretty difficult space for people, and so I just wanted to create a really positive and fun and exciting mural for them. And when I was finally finished, some of the tenants came out and went, what's the police mural about? And I thought I was so careful not to do so many different things. And I was like, oh shit. My main love is embroidery or textiles. And I love the tactile quality of them, but they take a long time to make. So I've always got to supplant that with drawing or murals or something like that. It's quite good to have different techniques going on at the same time in my studio, so if I get bored or fatigued for one, I can switch to the other. But yeah, this was a set that I showed for my New York solo last year, and yeah, that was an interesting experience. I turned up with no rent-a-crowd, and yeah, the place got packed, and a lot of these found new homes, which is good. This is another cruel embroidery. It's called the fucking minefield, and I made it when I joined the Victorian Embroiderers Guild. I think I was one of 4 guys that was in the guild, and I just went, if anyone's interested in textiles or embroidery at all, join the guild just to go and maybe keep your mouth shut and just watch how good they are. I used to get my wrist slapped a lot for my technique and how I'm like, oh yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. But yeah. This was my wedding quilt. Obviously, I'm gay, and I thought there still is a lot of talk about gay marriage and stuff like that. It is inevitable. It is just going to happen. And so I made this quilt out of 5,000 baby blue roses, and it weighs a ton. It's currently on show at Deakin University at the moment, and I always date my works and sign off XLG, which means like love Lucas Grogan or kiss Lucas Grogan. And the year has not been set yet. So if and when it does finally become set, I would like to go back and then write the date on it. But all the slogans and such come from all the protest signs or pithy little sayings that have popped up in the media. And thank you so much, you Dead Set Legend. This was a gift that I made for people who sent me fabric for a project that I'm working on. I'm working on a 30-metre long mountain quilt that people will hopefully be able to climb and rest in. And so I needed to source fabric. So I put a call out and I promised them that I would send something back. Absolute mistake. I was so bombarded, I've got so much stuff. I had to like delete all references to anywhere I could. And I folded these into paper fortune tellers or what do people call them? Cheddar boxes, yeah. But I always knew them as fortune tellers. You had to put your fortunes inside for advice. So I filled mine up with advice. And I think some of my favourites are, the best cure to worry is work. So whenever, I'm a firm believer in that, whenever I'm really stressed or upset or anything like that, the best way for me to fix it is to just put the hours in to work, and through that I will become freer. The road to riches is paved in unrelenting hard work. That's really, really true. Things don't come easy. The more you put in, the more you get out. And yeah, so I'm excited about the future. I'm really busy, and I feel like I've just sort of started in a way. I feel like I'm just warming up to something big. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm eager to find out. I'm eager to keep pushing, and I'm free. Thank you so much.